Hello, Shadanshu. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, ma'am. I'm listening to you.
Okay, great.
Good
So,
afternoon, ma'am.
good afternoon. We'll start in few minutes, okay? I'm
Okay.
expecting few more people to come online.
Okay,
Okay?
ma'am. Okay. नहीं
Okay, so let's start for today. Enough of the waiting. So, everybody can see me? I'm visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So, let's start with today's session. So, guys, we have already completed our module 1 and 2. And now we are moving on to module 3, which talks about a bit of the advanced implementation. Whatever you have done in your core Java, let's say you have implemented OOP concepts, you have implemented some of the basic concepts of Java. Here we are going to have some more implementation onto it. Okay, so our today's topic is going to be on files. Okay, IO stream and file, IO handling or whatever you call it. And along with that, we are going to focus on files. Okay, if the time permits, we are going to go for the next topic, which is threads. Okay, so there are 2 to 3 topics to be conducted. Before that, I have also asked you guys to prepare for object class, right? So I'll be asking you about the same later, but let me just finish up with this concept. Okay, start first of all, and then we'll see how much it goes. Okay, so everyone ready? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubt? Anything
No,
that you
ma'am.
wish to ask me? No, right? Okay, great. So hoping that everybody can hear me. I'm moving on with the concepts. Okay, so when I say I want to deal with some external resource, okay, being a programmer, I might require input from some external resource, and maybe I also have to store my data into some resources that we are talking about. So the resource here is any external file system, any disk system that you have, or the buffer system which you have external to your program. When I say external, it is external to your program. So I need to store my data, or I need to fetch the data from those systems. So I require a specific system into my programming, a specific package into my programming to deal with the same. So for that, we have IO. IO stands for input and output. You perform input onto a particular source through a source, and have do an output onto a destination. So you need to understand what is the source of the material and what is the destination. So your source can be, if your source is an external source, like you're reading from a file, then your destination will be your program, because you're reading via your code. And then if you are suppose writing your data onto a file again, then your destination becomes the external source again, but your source is your program. So you need to understand what is the in and out of this system which is going on. Okay, so let's start with this. Hoping that you guys know how to create simple applications in Java, like we have seen from the very beginning, how to create programs, how to work with programs, how to create projects, how to create packages. And based on that, we are going to go ahead for this major concept. Okay, and also, guys, from Wednesday, you're going to have your mock interviews. And in the meantime, also, we will start with our projects. If we finish up our tasks, then we'll also start with our project. Okay, are we good here?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody? Okay, good. So, starting with this, let me show you, first of all, the concepts which are involved. Okay, so before showing, let me just say this. Anything that you do, like I said, you're reading a file or you're writing onto a file, you need your data to be stored or retrieved into a particular format. Okay, so here the format that I'm referring to, or the base data that I'm referring to, the format is stream. Okay, you need not confuse yourself with stream IO, which is totally different. That is a stream API of SE8. What here we are talking about is IO, okay, which is input and output, again, which has got the similar concept or the same concept. The underlying concept remains the same, hence people get confused. So what we are dealing here is with a I would say we are dealing with IO, input and output handling, whereas stream API is a concept of SE8. So you can just learn them, but separately. Today, what we are doing is our input and output. Okay, so let's start with this. So let me share you my screen again, guys. I'm going to refer to everything which is present online. I'm not actually asking you to stick to a particular concept or stick to a particular website and upgrade yourself. No, never do that. Always refer to everything which is present online. Okay. So let's continue. I'm sharing my screen again. Something just happened, so it went. Source. You're giving on this in the form of stream, and it goes into your code. So this becomes your program. If you're writing, then it performs in this way, wherein your program is going to transfer your data in the form of stream to your data source again. Yes. So your data is nothing but stream. With this, because I need to flow my data, I need to transfer my data from one place to another. Hence, I need to convert it into some form. That form is stream, which is the which are going to go flow into a sequence. Okay, so it is used for external resourcing because it does not create congestion. So if I have to transfer data, let's say, for example, if I want to store my data for some external source, let's say I try to send my object itself. Let's say I'm trying to send scanner. So if I try to do that, it is going to give a lot of problem. It creates network congestion, and there are a lot of other problems associated with it. So you might not get the data. Data integrity might not be maintained. The data might not be consistent, or there might be some of the other issue associated with it. So to sort out these problems, stream came into picture, and the stream is handled inside your IO. IO is your package, which contains all the classes, the interface, and everything that you require to work with your program. Are we good here? Yes. You can see there are a lot of these things are. Now the bifurcations that you need to understand before we start. This is again a good one. So when I talk about streams, streams are of two types. There's byte stream and character stream. When I say byte stream, it is 1 byte. That is 8 bits of data present in there. So you can see the bits which we saw in here. These are the bits. Okay, so this is not a byte representation, but a byte representation of data is sent from one place to another. Whereas when I talk about character stream, it is 2 bit. So I will say 2 bytes, 16 bits data. So we are going to read in the form of Unicode characters, the strings, the basic string values which we have. Okay. So based on this, our further characterization goes into, let's say, 2 parts. Okay. So you have for byte stream, you have input stream, output stream, and for character stream, you have reader and writer. All the 4 things that you see here are your abstract classes. So you will have to implement it into some or the other class, or there are implementing classes which are present here. So if you want to see it, these are speaking some random thing and just showing it to you unless and until it gives me the exact thing required. So it is required the same. It is required for you to again not stick to a particular book. Don't by the book. Expand your. Here we have byte stream data. Okay, so for input stream, there's buffered input, byte array, data input, object, and so many things. So input stream is solely going to accept the data and will be storing data in these classes objects. So these are classes, buffered input stream. Likewise, I have got buffered output stream is supposed to output the data. It is supposed to write the data to some location. And if these are input, there's an opposite for all outputs. Apart from that, there is one extra thing, which is print stream, which has got print and println method, which we use in system.out.println method, right? So it comes from this particular class, which is a class from byte stream, output stream. Yes. Yes, do you understand? So these are the basic methods. So they are saying that there are specific 2 methods. There is read method inside your input stream, and there's a write method inside your output stream to perform the basic operations. Okay, you can see these are the common methods that we have and the examples for the same. Let me just share. This is not secure, but I think this is a good one. If you can refer to, this is a BTech Smart Class. I don't know what this is. Just always research and you'll be getting a proper output. So this was about byte stream. Likewise, you have got character stream. So for character stream, you have got reader and writer. In byte stream, you have got input stream and output stream. So the reason for me to show you this is for you to understand the hierarchy. Like I've told you before, there's a hierarchy which is maintained by each and every concept in Java. You need to remember the hierarchy for each one of them. So again, this is for byte stream, you can look up. Then if I have to show you for maybe say this is, I cannot see it. Again, go for character stream, right? So here in character stream, you have got things like this. Yes, you have got buffer reader. Here you had buffered input stream, but in character stream, you have buffered reader. Here you have data input, then there is reader, everything with the reader. So the basic class here, the basic abstract class for input stream for reading data is input stream, and for character it is reader. And for writing data, here we have output stream, and in character stream we have got writer, and the classes descending from those abstract class. You get the point, people? Yes. Again, like I've told you before, hierarchy plays a very important role, and you need to understand or you need to maintain those hierarchy or you need to understand when these particular things are supposed to be used, when each of these classes are supposed to be used as per your requirement. Okay, so we have seen one of the usages of buffered reader, if you guys remember. Yes, buffered reader is one of the classes which is present in character stream because the name reader is associated with it, which is going to read the data in the form of string. Okay, because it is for character, right? So eventually everything is converted into stream, but this is what you have. Apart from this hierarchy, okay, I think we are clear here. Are we good? Shall we move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Pete?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I suppose so. So the next thing, apart from this, what we need to focus on is file. I have been saying file. So resource is not always going to be a specific file. It can be anything that I require for my system. So here, let's specify our resource. Here we are going to deal with file. Okay, file is nothing but with any storage, external storage system which will reside onto your computer or maybe some remote location. So this file can be of any type. You can have a .bat file, then you can have a .txt file, .java file, class file. Okay, these are the various types of files. You can deal with .xml file, .json. Okay, so depending upon my usage, depending upon my requirement, I'm going to deal with each of these files. Okay, so it is very much required for us to understand how to fetch the data from these resources, file resources, and store the data if I want to. Okay, so the basic thing that we need to start with is file. So here, file is a class in Java, again present in java.io package. Okay, so when you're learning about this concept, when you're learning about IO, you need to understand all the interfaces present in here. You need to understand about all the classes, abstract classes, non-abstract classes present in this particular IO package, and all the exceptions associated with it. Like we have seen last time when we were handling our exception, compile time exception. Exception is also a class in Java present in lang package. But if I have to do perform exception onto a particular concept, let's say for example for IO, I will have to fetch all the classes present in that particular package. So IO has got separate its own exception class that we can refer to. Like we have got IO exception. Okay, and so depending upon my requirement, I can fit into what other types of exceptions that might come in. Are we good? Yes, people?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So let me start sharing my screen and let's do the program directly. Let's try to understand how to code for this one. Okay, guys, I have been showing you to write down the code since the very beginning because I want you to come up with your own method. to do the code. Because what I do here is I show you the structure, I show you what needs to be followed, I show you what you don't have to do into your program. So you will have to come up with your own way, come up with your own um, um, methodology to write the program. Except for what the common basics are required, except for that you have to come up with how you're going to solve a particular problem, keeping all the basics in your mind, like the structure that you need to follow, the object creation, the variable creation, the usages, everything will depend upon your understanding about this particular concept, about this language. So you need to make sure that you have got a proper practice. You need to practice at least 10 programs a day. So to understand what I am doing in here, I used to do that. Being into this field, I used to do at least 10 programs to show people how to write down the code. And so I know how to write down the code. So it is very easy for me. If anybody asks me to not use an IDE and directly do it into a non-IDE editor, let's say, wherein I don't have an opportunity to do a control space bar and get all the methods, still I will be able to get a program without any error, because I have done a lot of practice. The same thing implies to you, considering that we don't have a lot of time. We need to make sure that we try to fetch this goal. We try to get through the goal of doing at least 5 programs, at least, sorry, not 5, but 10 programs a day. Yes. So this is how we go. We are going to deal with the Java perspective. First of all, we'll create a Java project. Okay, we'll give it a name. Today is day 6. We'll specify that. And I'm using 8. You can go for 11. So you have to be upgrading yourself. You need to upgrade yourself to either 8 or 11. Again, it's better if you go for the higher version because it is Java 17 in the market. So it is better to go for the higher range. Okay, so there are new concepts such as modules that you need to learn in Java 11. Okay, it's not that difficult, but of course, it is one of the components which you can upgrade yourself. Okay, so starting with this concept, I am supposed to show you how a file works. Let's see this. Let's say I'll do a right click, new, and I am creating a package here. Okay, so com.ml. This is what I've been following, com.org, whatever you want. Dot, and the next thing that I need to specify is IO, because IO is also a package, so it might give you and otherwise it will work as a package. So IO and dot files. We are working with files and everything will be created inside this. So if I'm working with character stream, I will have to create such. Let's say, for example, now here I'm not going to specify files. Here I will say I have just done copy paste of this particular package. This is my byte stream. Yes, byte stream. Then maybe I want to go for this one. This means I want to go for character stream. Okay, so you are going to go for all these particular classes, all these particular different implementation to understand the extent of Java, to understand what all things can be done using Java. It is not only that you can read a text file, you can also read any type of file. Let's say you can read a JSON file, of course, one of the formats which you have. You can also read XML files. You can read a BAT. BAT is nothing but a batch should become the different thing. So you can read a socket thing. Okay, there are many things involved in here. So let's start with one. Okay, so far so good. Anybody? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
We good? Okay, just a minute. Huh? Till then, you guys can just get your files ready, get your IDE ready for me to see. what you have done into your system. Like I've asked you guys to do something, so just make sure. Happen. One of my data is missing. I'm just trying to send it. I don't know, but I don't have it. So, okay. So not an issue. We can just do it from scratch. Otherwise, the concepts were there with me. Let's see this data. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is I need to write file, right? I need to read from a file. I need to perform basic operations on file. So let's see that. Okay, you can refer to Java T point, you can refer to the service point. Okay, next you can also refer to double tree school. There are many things you can refer to whichever is easy for you to get. Okay. Okay. Let's start. Okay, so right click, just a minute. Okay, so here, right click, new, and then create the class here. Let's say I will call this as creation. So I'll say a file. This is the operation that we are doing, create file demo. So maybe I can just have file demo or something. It's all the tasks. This is going to be better. So file demo. And here we go. So I'm creating all the everything inside this class, and we'll be having this file, this particular class specifically to perform all the file operations. So the first method that I'm creating here is public void creation, file creation, let's say like this, because there is one method which might perform something. Okay, so here, so I need to create a file. So let's say I am creating a file, and here file is a class in Java. So the file needs to be created something like this. Let's say I am saying file. Okay, for now, it is like this. Okay, so because I am using file, I need to import the required jar. So I need to import the jar from Java IO. There is also java.nio, which refers to new input output, which was released later with all the advanced or enhanced versions of the things that we want for again input and output. So you need to make sure that you're working for the basic operations, you're working with this and not with NIO. File class is present in both the packages. You only need to refer to the package which is mentioned in here. Yes? Are we good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So once we do this, here I am creating a file which is right now it does not contain anything. Let's say, for example, I want the person to give the name to this file. Let's say what I'm saying, I am writing a scanner class, okay, and I'm going to accept it from the user so as to get the name of the file. I want the person to give the name of the file, and that will be stored as the name which I have here. Scanner system .in. Yes. So I am saying to the user SISO, and I will say enter the name of file to be created. Yes. So here I am going to accept it into some values. Let's say string name, or let's say file. Let's be very specific with what we are dealing is equal to double inverted and sorry, not double inverted, I'll scanner. What next? Okay. So I'll just accept the value and I'll be creating a file accordingly. So I accepted the file. Now I want to create one. So how will you do that? You'll say file is equal to, now you instantiate with the path name or the file name. Let's say the file name that I'm specifying here is what I have. So I'm going to say file name and this, sorry, plus dot txt. Okay, this is the that I will be creating. So the nine will be the default Java path. So I can specify it accordingly. Let's see where this will be created. So now everything needs to go inside try and catch block. Now there are major implementations that you need to always have into your system. Okay, so try and catch. So what I need to do is I need to create the file, right? So how do I do that? There is a method called as create file. And this create file is going to return me a Boolean value saying that the file has been created. So how will you do that? You'll say file and create new file. Okay, so here you have it. The file that I'm creating is stored inside file, which refers to the file location. Okay, and for now, it is going to go for the default location. This will be giving me the value in Boolean format. So I'll say Boolean and then is I will say, let's say, is created, something like this is equal to true or false. I can give that and I'll check if is created or is file created is true. Okay, if it is true, then you see the file, you can just say that the file has been created successfully. SSFULLY. Okay, otherwise you can go for cannot create the file. Yes, let's say I do it here. File cannot be created. Yes, and if I want to be more specific, I can write here the message, or I can say e.print stack trace. Again, one of the interview question, what is print stack trace? Print stack trace is a method which is going to give us the series or the stack or the trace of where where this particular exception has occurred from and where you can resolve. Exactly everything will be mentioned in here. let me just call this method inside my class and we'll check whether the file can be created or not. Okay, don't worry if the class does not work, it's okay. Just be positive and things will be done accordingly. Okay, so I am calling my method that is dot file creation, and let's see. Okay, executing my code and enter the name of the file to be created. I say test. Okay, the file has been created successfully. So now this is a question where it is getting created. Okay, refresh and you can see it is within the project. Okay, so you can see there's a test.txt file getting created. This is how you create a file. We good here? Yes, one operation done. File creation. Let's move on to the next operation. I want to write onto this file. So I'm creating a method specifically to write public void write in or on file, write in file. Okay. So let's say there's some string message. So I'm going to call in with this string and then data to be written. Maybe something like this. I can do that. Okay, and I will have to refer to the same file which has been created or maybe which has been used throughout. So I will say file, okay, dot write. Okay, so there is now. Okay, I cannot directly write. I need to perform some task. Okay, there's a message. Can you hear me now? Yes, Mani?
मैम बीच में आपका आवाज रुक रुक के आ रहा है मैम.
I don't know. There must be some network issue. Otherwise, things are good. Can you hear me?
मैम अभी आ रहा है.
Guys, everybody can hear me. Okay. So if at all you cannot hear me, just let me know. Okay. So when I will be calling this particular class, when I'll be writing the data, I would require my data to come in from some external source. So I will be writing that. Now I need to write. So I need to make use of the input output classes present for the same. So I have got a file output stream. I can make use of that, or I can also go for file writer, whichever is suitable or whichever you understand, whichever you think is better for you. So let's say I will pick, let's say file writer. File writer is a class of implementing class of your writer abstract class. So this is your writer, and you need to specify what this writer is supposed to fetch the data from. Let's say that this is going to fetch the data from the same file name which you have. So maybe you can make this a common thing somewhere here is equal to null. This file name which has been created, I'm just using it. So I'll say file name. Again, plus dot txt, the same file which I want them to refer. Yes. Now, because I'm going to perform some read and write operation again, we need to make sure that everything is properly concealed or covered or handled by our respective blocks. That is your try and catch block. Okay. Like I said, we can be more specific instead of exception. I can have specific IO exception, so it has to be imported as well. So you can see here, this is present in IO package. Okay, you can see here. Okay, so you can just see this package, this class has been imported from this package. Otherwise, you don't have to. For this one, it was not required because exception class is present in lang package, which need not be inherited, which need not be imported. Okay, so here we need to write. So there is a method for writing it. So let's say writer dot write. Okay, what do I need to write? I can write on these different values by using all these things. So if I'm making use of file writer, then I can make use of the write method, the writer methods which we have, the write for character array, write for stream. If I'm making use of output streams, if I'm making use of file output stream, then I'll be making use of write with integer argument, write with character, write with string again. So these are the various variations which you have with your other different types of methods. Again, this is for your understanding. This is for you to know what kind of data can come in. Okay, so now I'm just simply saying write down the data there. So once this is done, I can simply prompt the user saying that the data has been written onto the file. The data has been written in the file or on the file. Written in the file. I'm not sure. I think both of them are fine. And again, I can be more specific to see what kind of exception might come in. Okay, so I need to call this write method. So I'll say demo dot write in file method, which I have created. And here I need to put in the data. Let's say I am putting in the data such as this is IO session from Millionlights. Yes, this is my data. So this data will go inside the string data, which will be written on to this particular file, which it refers to from this particular location. Okay, let's see this, whether this works. And we execute the code. So again, let's say this time I'm creating a new one. So this is my file. The name of my file is file. So file.txt file has been created, data has been written. So let's refresh and let's see. This is my file and there's no data on board because it is not getting the same file name in here. Oh, because here it was null. Okay, let's put this inside the constructor. So this becomes a very common thing for all. Okay, so we'll pick this and we'll place this inside the constructor. So all the other methods using it can access. Yeah. Let's delete this one and let's try again. Okay. Okay, so constructor can be called whenever you instantiate an object and not a big deal. So let's execute and see. So the name of the file that I want is file and the file has been created. As per this, if it is not created, always try to check for the error. Why aren't you working? Dot write. Yes, write and then data. Write and file. Okay, so now let's check where is the problem. Guess why is print the file name. Let's see what's the file name. Okay, so say this test two. Yeah, it is referring to the same thing. Fresh. So what can be wrong? The file name seems fine, so it is going to that location. The writing of data, this can be an issue, maybe. The data which I have, let's try to print the data as well. Okay. Yeah, the data is also fine. maybe this one thing that I'm missing. Writer dot close. Maybe I need to do this because I missed this very time. Let's see, new file is the data and everything. Let's refresh. Yeah, that was the problem. Okay, you need to close the stream once you have opened. So it is just waiting for more data to come in. So that was the deal. I can also write this inside my finally block. Okay, this is where this block come in. So as to close, all the resources would just come in. Okay, here we go. So again, this writer has to be accessible everywhere. So you need to make it. Let's see. Common thing here. So that things can be accessible everywhere. Right now it is going to run and later on you can use it accordingly. Yes. So there is one constructor to accept the file name. The other, there's one method to accept what needs to go and how the file has to be created. Okay. There's another method to write into the file. Once the writing work has been done, I need to now read from the file which has been created. So now this particular thing is supposed to give me an error because it has not been handled. Let's say we add rows. So everything was handled accordingly. So it has to be called inside this method as well. Okay, wherein I am calling this write files. It is okay. Here we go. Now, moving on to the next method, I need to read the data, right? So I'm creating public void read from. Okay, so here again, the file is the same. Okay, the same file I'm using, so I need not accept any parameter. So I'll be using the same stuff. So since I have made use of file writer, I can make use of file reader for reading from file. Okay, so how do you do that? Again, the same way you did. So now here you also need to add one more, that is your file reader. Okay, file reader is equal to null for now, and then later when I'm using here, I will give it some value. So everything goes inside, try and catch. Yes, all the methods needs to be handled accordingly. Okay, so I'll say reader is equal to new reader, new file reader, and the file name. So the file name the same way I've written, I am going to use it. Okay, because I'm trying to reach the same file or the file which you wish to read. You can specify from this place. Let's say you're taking this file name from, let's say, name. Okay, and read from file, and you are specifying that from here, name plus and then dot txt, double inverted, because it considers this parameter as string. Now when we read, we need to perform the read operation, correct? So how do you read data? Reading of data can be done in various formats. So let's say, how is this supposed to read the data? So I'm creating reader dot read. So there are various things. You have got two reader methods. One is going to read the data in character, and the other one is going to read the data as is in the form of character buffer. Okay, so let's say whichever you do, the data is read in the form of character. So let's say I'm putting in read and I am trying to read my data. So this has to be stored somewhere. So I need to create an array for this reason. So let's create an array. Let's say data array, or maybe say read data array. So char array, okay, char array of, so we'll call this as char array. Something like this is equal to, let's instantiate it here, because maybe I can specify how much of data can reside in it. Let's say I'm creating an array of size 100. Okay, so this is the name which we need to refer to. Let's go down and we'll be reading the data here. So read the data in this particular variable. Okay, and let's print the data. So how do you do that? Simple, just go for system.out.println and you can read the data from this place. So let me just give it, this is your data and it is present in char array. You can see it. Be good? Yes. So I just need to get rid of all the extra a method or step that I had because it was not required. It was just for my explanation that the file was data. Okay, everything seems fine. Now let's call the method to read the data. So I'll say demo dot read file, read from file. So I just have to give the name. Let's say there are different files which I have. Okay, so for now I want to read new file. So I'll say new Dublin noted new file dot exe. I can change this whenever and wherever I want. Okay, again, you need to make sure that you have got it handled properly, e.print stack trace, and this is how it goes. Let's execute the code. And the file that I'm creating here is file test. Okay. New file. Oh, I need to do this because it is already having this. Let's refresh. Okay, things which I don't, I can just delete. So execute it, and here I see this file test that I'm creating. Okay, the file test has been created properly. The data has been written to the file. And here, this is IO from Millionlights. So let's say I should be having a file test class, which is, no, new file, which is having all this data. We know that new file has this data. Yes, let's say I try to change Millionlights, and we are learning, and we are learning what we are learning. IO. We are learning how to write the code. Okay, let's save this. And I simply want to read it. So I need dot for the other thing. The file has been created already. So I simply read the data which is present. Oh, the instructor. Okay, so hello, this is from Millionlight, and okay, so this is how you read your data. We good? Yes, people?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, guys. We good here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So likewise, you can also delete file. You can also perform all the other operations which are left. Let's say, let's try to delete this thing. Okay, first of all, public void delete file. Again, I can specify the file name which I wish to delete. Let's say, for example, here the file name that I'm doing is coming from this data itself. So I'll say string name again. So whichever I want to delete, I can just call it in here. Okay, let's say I'm saying delete file. Okay, so how do you delete file? It is very simple. Yeah. You can just create the file class and then delete it. File.delete. So I have got this file already with me, right? So I'm just going to call for file.delete. File.delete. Okay, and why am I not getting? Oh, because I have not called it with demo. Okay. Delete file. And now I specify the file name, whichever I want, and I can delete it. Let's say I want to delete test dot, okay, yeah, test dot txt. Yes. And this will come again inside a boolean so as to get the value as true or false. Is deleted. Maybe this is the file thing which I have. And I'll say if is deleted is equal to true, then I can specify the file has been deleted successfully. The file has been deleted success, as you see, CX. Otherwise, you can say error deleting the file. Yeah, this is the whole code. And now let's try calling it. So let's see what are all the other things which we have. Okay, refresh. And I need not call this because I don't want to create any new file. So I can just comment it for now. And because otherwise the constructor will be called. Okay, so null pointer exception. Why? That's the Java file. Oh, the file will clear. Delete. Delete. Okay, the file name. I did not get the file. I can specify. So I can create file here. File. So except for file because I want to create my new. So file and then the name which I'm going to have and semicolon. Maybe now it will contain the value. Okay, reading the file and the file has been deleted successfully. The file which I wanted to delete was test. So now let's refresh and see to it. And yes, the file has been deleted. Okay, we good? The basic file operation. So this file has got a number of methods that you can use to perform some of the other tasks. Here, the 4 methods that you see is the file creation method, writing in the file, reading from the file, deleting the file, and if there are any other operation, checking whether the file is present or active or not. You can do all those things. Yes. Are we good here? The basic operations of files. Again, what I did, instead of creating into the single code, I can have different classes to do the task. But here, this becomes a very a centralized place where I've got all the methods which I want to perform for related to files. So this is again one of the ways in which you can write down the code. Now, every time, each and every time, depending upon my requirement, I was declaring my variable inside the class. So you have to understand when you need to declare a variable and when you need declare a common thing from all the methods, or when do you want it to be more of a local thing. Yes. Do you understand? If I do it otherwise, because I got an error and got to know that it is getting a null pointer because this file was getting instantiated when I was calling this. So because no, when I was calling this file creation method, since the file was not getting created, it was not holding any value for this one. And so I can just make it this way. I can just create a new file object and get the file name and delete it. So these files and all these things are going to give us the flexibility or the or all those things that I need to write down the program to perform all the tasks for. Are we good? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Are we clear about this? Okay, so I want you all to go ahead with this one. Let you check for some of the other examples for 5. Okay, for 5 minutes. Okay, not 5 minutes. Let's say for 2 minutes. Just go through these or all these things that let's just search for file handling in Java and see what all types of operations can be done. Just do that and let me know what you come up with. Yes. We good? Shall we continue? Shall we continue? Okay, I suppose that is a yes. No reply, so I'll take that as a yes. Okay. So now I want to deal with these programs or the different types of classes and all its implementation that. So let me just create a simple thing, a simple file. It is a text file. So I'll say info.txt file. So I'll be writing down everything, the concepts that you should be acquainted with or familiar with the stream. Okay, so what we are dealing here is with IO, IO stream, IO handling, input, out, whatever you call it. So what we have seen so far is what a stream all about. Okay, then the two types of streams. Okay, we'll just elaborate onto it, and before that I'll just mention that we have got file. Okay, file is a class which contains a lot of methods. The method that we saw was create new file. Then there was a method to read, there was a method to write onto the file. Okay, then there was a method to delete. There is a method to check whether it is present, it contains, or it is present, whether it exists. States whether it exists or not. Then there's a method to find the length of the string which is present in the file. Then there is a method to go for the lists. So basically, all the we have got a concept of directory which is not separate from file. So if we specify slashes, the slash will specify that, let's say instead of writing the file name directly, I say some name slash and then the file name. So that some name is going to be the directory or the folder which will be created wherein your file will be created. So if I wish to list down all the data present in that folder or directory, then I make use of this lists method. Okay, so let's talk about stream. Okay. Every time, anytime you're going to deal with it here, you're going to write down the proper names or write down the proper classes which are used. So let's say, for example, in this one, we are trying to work with stream. So there are two types, as we know. There is something called as byte stream, okay, and there's something called as character stream. Yes. Okay. So when I say byte stream basically deals with two types of data. One is input stream. This is the abstract class. Input stream is a class for taking input from the user, and output stream is a class to take the out to give the output to the user. Whereas for this one, for character stream, we have got two classes again. So we have got reader to take the input and writer to write the output. Okay, writer. Yes. So there are different classes that you need to know about. Let's say for input stream, we have class such as file input stream. Yeah. Then likewise, I will be having a similar thing for output stream. So I can say this is a file output stream. Similar thing is present inside my reader. Here we call this as file reader. We just saw this, right? Then we also have the same similar thing in here. So why do we have so much of similarity, and we are just doing the same thing again and again? It is because I want to deal with different types of data. Here the different types referred to as either byte stream or character stream. So depending upon that, I'm going to make use of each of these types. So if I'm making use of file input stream, we need to make sure we get the data, or we read the data, we write the data using output stream. So it has to be from the same type of data only. Let's say, for example, here, if I'm dealing with a buffered, okay, there is buffered input stream. You must have heard about this. You must have seen this. Likewise, you have got buffered output stream, the same thing, right? Yes. Similarly, here you have buffered reader. We have seen an example for this one, reading the data, and this is for writing the data. Buffered writing. Okay, similarly, there are tons of classes present for based upon my usages. So we have got byte array input stream, byte array output stream. We have got data input stream, data output stream. There's print stream. There are different types of classes that I've shown you before. So you just have to pick some of them and try to work with it. Okay, I'll show you example for some, but I think it is better if you explore. So you have all these implementations that you're going to do here, make sure that goes inside byte stream, and all the others can go inside your this stream. Now, if I want to convert my data from byte stream to character stream, and from character stream vice versa, so I can make use of the class called as input stream reader and output stream writer. So it is going to give me the flexibility to interoperate between the two types of streams that we have. Yes? We good so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we. And of course, the class name which you should not forget for exception. Yes? So for exception, you have the one major thing that is exception, IO exception. So can anybody else tell me any other IO class exceptions which we have here? Any IO exception?
Ma'am, SQL exception.
MySQL is going to be inside MySQL. Don't you think that?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. No, I'm asking. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You sure? So I have a few more exceptions, such as file not found exception. You should be knowing about this because in the interview, they ask about you, what is IO exception? Where is this exception present? So you will have to give a reply. You have to answer in this way that IO exception extends exception class, and it is present inside IO package to handle all the types of exceptions that might come in for input and output. So what is file not found exception? File not found exception is the one which is going to come, or which will be handling the exception for if the file is not found while performing any of the operations. So you have to come up with all these things. So there are some more interrupt IO exception. exception. Then there is one exception for um yeah, that's okay. I think this much is enough. Maybe if you get some, you can just add up the list and you can go ahead. We good so far? Yes, people, this is to sum up. This is to sum that all these things are present in your data, are present in your IO. That is input and output handling. Handling. Yes, IO handling. We good?
Yes, ma'am.
This is not Stream API. Stream API is the concept of Java SE8. And we are doing a common concept which is present in all the packages, in all the versions of Java. Yes, people? Okay. So now I'll stop my IO here. And now I want you all to tell me what you have done for your object class. Like I've explained before about the object class, did you guys do? Did you guys try to override the methods and see how it works? Object cloning and everything? Yes? Yes, people are waiting for you to give me some reply. Anything?
Yes, ma'am. Tried, ma'am, but not the cloning method, ma'am.
You did not perform cloning?
Yes, ma'am.
Why? Okay, no worries. I'm just doing something. I'll be sharing everything that I have in other things. Okay, I stream character stream and file, so I'll just switch this one. Then we can go with the next. Okay, let's move on to the next concept, which is objects. Okay, let's see how this works. I think it was the concept of, yeah, on Saturday as well, on Friday as well, we saw it. We'll try to see that again today. Let's see how this one works. So I've just copy pasted what I had in my previous session and I'm sharing. Okay, so it was the same thing present in here. I've just copy pasted in today's ticket and we were working on our object demonstration. So this was the basic example given. Now I asked you to go for overriding for all these questions. Yes, contract between equals and hash code and cloning and copy constructors. So let's say you'll get through this. Okay. Let me just create one more info for this one. So it will be only specific to this, and we'll be talking about all the other tasks. Okay, so the first one, we know that object is a class which is present in java.lang package. Yes. The question which you need to expect here is about all the methods. Okay, all the methods of this class, of object class. Okay, so the methods, the common methods that you should be knowing about is toString, very commonly used. We have seen that last time as well. Okay, then again with the spelling. Okay, then you have got a hash code method to get. This is going to give us the hash code to check for the hash code. The hash codes which are used in hash table, hash map, hash set, all these things. Then you have got something called as equals, ALS equals method. Then there is a wait and the variety of wait method, notify, and 2 to 3 things about it. Notify. Okay, so this is what you have. Okay, great. So there are a few more. The one which we need to talk about is clone, for which I'm going to show you the code. Okay, how object cloning is supposed to be done. Okay, so before we start, I want you to tell me the answer for what is the contract between hash code and equals method. Anybody? Yes. Yes, people. Okay. So whenever an object is created, let me tell you, whenever an object is created, there are two things associated with it. One is the hash code and the other one is some reference value to that particular object for each and every value that you're working with. Let's say, for example, you have got two objects, okay, and these two objects, you try to equalize it by you try to compare it with using equals method. It will give you an output as if it gives you an output as true. That means that the hash code will be the same. That means the object which we are referring to is the same. Okay. Now, the second thing is it says that if the hash code values for two things are same, it does not mean that the equal values are going to be, or I would say, if the equal values for something is false, then again the hash code value need not be same. Okay, something like this. So let me just give you the statement, and this is what you need to remember. Okay, so the basic rule states that if two objects are equal, so I have this already. I'm just going to give it to you here. So it says, if two objects are equal to each other based on equals method, okay, then the hash code must be the same. Hash code has to be the same in this case. Because I'm making use of equals method, the values are same. But if the hash code is the same, then the equals method can return false. That's okay. Yes, because now the hash code value is maybe pointing to something else. Maybe equals has been compared to something else. So based on that, it is going to give you the value. Yes, hash code value always changes based on the value that you have put in. Okay, let's say if I get one example. There's also an example program which is shown. You can use that on screen if they ask you to write a question. So even then it might help. I'm giving you some links in here that you can refer to at your end and come up with your own answers. I will not be giving you any proper code for it, because you will just stick to it. Otherwise, you will be coming up with your own answers. So that is what you need to do. You need to come up with your own thing. So there is a wonderful example given the contract. Okay. So I want you to see this. You'll get to know about it. What we are. Yes, here it goes. Okay, people. So let me just share this to you so that you'll be in a better position to understand what I wish to talk about. Okay, so is this example? I've sent you the last one. This is from Program Creek. So Java equals and hash code contract. So this is what they have. So this their XYZ. And there's a hash function and a particular bucket has been created. Java class object defines two important methods, that is equal with the return type boolean and hash code with the return type int. Okay, so common mistakes will be shown, and then how equals and hash code contract works. So this is what they're doing. So let's say here they have created one Apple class. Okay, this is okay, and then they have got string color. There's a constructor. There's an equal method which has been overridden, and we are checking here obj is equal to null. That means right now if this object method is called and this equals method is called and it is trying to override. So here it is going to check if it is null, then you return false. If not of object is instance of Apple, that means the object which has been calling this equals method is an instance of Apple class, then you again return false. And if object is equal to this, then you return true. And then it is colored, and then this is better. Okay. So this is what overriding looks like. They have overridings. So now let's see. They have written A1, Apple A1. The object is being created for Apple, and new Apple is equal to green, and this is red. Two objects are created. Hash map, what is this going to do? So I need to understand hash map stores the Apple type and its quantity. So let's say, for example, there's Apple and there's an integer value. So M is equal to new hash map and the value goes A1 and A2 goes inside there. So you can check M1.get. So this is going to get the new apple. Okay. So in this main, two apples are created and it is put inside the hash method, which contains some values. However, let's read this out, we'll get to understand this. This is okay. So the hash code method in the object returns distinct integer for different objects. Therefore, second apple has a different hash code because there's a two different objects. So okay, let me just come up with the proper contract again. Okay, there's one more equals. Okay, let you give me some time. I'll get some better examples. This is along with this so in short, you need to know about it, the two different types, or the contract between equals and hash code method. You'll get to know about this as well. Code method, this is again a wonderful website. Uses of hash code equals method is to verify the equality, and this is used to return the integer value for the object in runtime. Whenever an object is associated with a value, it is given at that time. Okay, by default, two objects are equal if and only if they are referring to the same memory location. Okay, and here the object hash code is used to define the index location. Okay, when the object needs to be stored in some hash table like data structure. So if I'm making use of any data structures to store in the value, then this hash will come under the picture. So again, there is a contract. It is necessary. It is generally necessary. Equals hash code over it in the main method. Okay, whenever it is involved in same. So guys, it is me reading the value is not going to make any difference. Overriding the behavior and everything. Just read this out. If you still face some issue, then let me know. Okay, so then I'll just come up with a better explanation or a better example for this one. Okay. Okay. So the next thing is object cloning that I wish to talk to you about. Again, there are two things. I'm not going to show you this because they are very trivial programs or very trivial things that you need to do at your end. If you understood this, then it is going to be very easy for you to understand the later part. Hence, just refer to whichever program you get and get through your own answers. Okay? So if by the time if you're doing so, if you have got some issue, you can just let me know. Okay? Yes, people. So you can refer for cloning. Again, a website I have referred to. You can refer to that. So here it says there are two types of cloning: deep cloning and shallow cloning. Deep copy, shallow copy. And there's also a concept called as copy constructors. So you need to know about all these things. So this particular website gives you everything. Okay. I will only teach you, I will only guide you if you show me something from your end. Okay. If you show me that you're actually performing some task at your end. Okay. It is only then I'll give you some input from my end. Okay. So I think that will be enough. Let's start with the next concept which we have, which is threads. Okay. Everybody good?
Yes, ma'am.
So you guys can do it, right? Just try attempt doing it once. If it is not possible for you, just let me know. Then we'll start from the beginning. Okay, for object class. I'm leaving it up to you guys to work with it. Okay. The next concept which we have is threads, and let's start. Okay. So here I'm not going to give a lot of stuff here. Now let me just start asking you few questions. Okay, I want to come up with some answers that I've taught last week. So it has been a week now that you guys are coming for these sessions. Before I start the threads, I want you to give me some basic answers. So I want you all to switch on your camera before I start with threads. Let's do this first. Yes. Can you all switch on your camera? Okay. It is only one person, the other two are sleeping. So you read something, you did not read anything, did you prepare? What did you prepare? I want to know this from your end first. How is the progress? How are you working?
Ma'am, I'm practicing core Java concept, ma'am, coding part, ma'am.
What did you prepare so far?
Ma'am, I'm working on loop concept, ma'am.
Which concept?
Loops, ma'am. For loop.
See, it has been a week. You have to pace up.
Yes.
What did you do on Saturday and Sunday?
Saturday I practiced, ma'am. Sunday I was on. Uh, uh, Sunday relatives were at home, ma'am.
Okay, so you did not do anything about array and string?
Ma'am, Friday you thought about, ma'am. I practice on it.
Okay. So again, I would say that you need to pace up. Okay, let me ask you a few questions since you have done loop. I think you'll be able to answer me.
Yes.
Can you tell me the basic difference between for loop and for each loop?
Ma'am, in for loop, ma'am, we write condition in a bracket, in a single bracket, ma'am. In ma'am, each condition, ma'am, for each condition, ma'am, we use while, ma'am. Then we initialize, ma'am, step-wise steps, ma'am. If else, if else.
Okay. Okay, what is the basic difference between if else and switch case?
In switch case, ma'am, it increased the readability of the program, ma'am, and it easier to use as compared to, ma'am, if else, ma'am. In if else, ma'am, we write if else, then we put condition, ma'am, else if, and at the end, ma'am, we use again else, ma'am. Where, ma'am, in switch case, ma'am, we start with while, ma'am, and we use there are steps, ma'am.
Okay, stop saying ma'am in all your statements.
Okay.
It's not required. Okay, you just have to sit normally. Don't hold your mic to your mouth. It's okay. Okay, just sit straight and just answer what you know. So far, things are good. Okay, whatever you're answering is okay. So, what if I ask you a few questions on OOP? Will you be able to answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, can you tell me what is dynamic method dispatch?
No, ma'am.
Do you know what is the difference between polymorphism and inheritance?
Polymorphism, ma'am, inheritance, ma'am. In inheritance, the child acquire all the properties of parent class, ma'am. With inheritance,
That is inheritance.
yes, ma'am. With inheritance, we achieve polymorphism, ma'am.
Okay. How?
Why, ma'am?
Yeah, you're correct. Just be confident what you need to answer. How do you achieve polymorphism using inheritance?
By calling, parent class methods, ma'am.
By overriding parent class method in the child
By
class, right?
yes, ma'am.
One of the types can be done. Yeah, that it is rather dynamic polymorphism can be performed by this. Okay, what is overloading?
Overloading.
Okay, we did some concept on Friday, right? That concept was about we did exception, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so can you tell me what is arithmetic exception?
Arithmetic exceptions, ma'am. Mathematical.
First of all, it is a class.
Yes.
Second of all, it is used for handling arithmetic exceptions that might come in. So it will give me all the types of exceptions, all the types of arithmetic exceptions which might occur while I'm performing a code. Like, for example, divide by zero exception.
Yes.
Yes, it was very simple. It was the same thing that I just showed you when I was writing down the code. Yes. What is finally? We did that today as well. What is finally?
Ma'am, finally, ma'am, मैम और कोई फंक्शन कॉल ना हो फाइनली कॉल होता मैम जब हम फाइनली लिखते हैं
Whether or not exception occurs,
finally
will be called automatic.
yes,
Yeah. It's not the function, it is exception, whether it is going to occur or not. Okay, so the deal is when you're going to go for an interview, those interviewers are having their own language, right? They have got their own native language.
yes.
And what we talk is a different language. So we need someone to we need to be somewhere in between, like a common language that we both can talk. And it is something that each and every company follows, right? It's okay. You're not good in English, it's okay. Okay, but you should be able to express yourself properly. Once you try to, if you don't pretend, or if you do not um talk, what do you say, if you do not attempt, okay, don't attempt to talk, just talk into the flow. Okay, if I have to remember each and every statement that I'm talking here like a script, it will be very difficult for me to talk, right, for 2 hours. at a stretch. I don't know, the program might work, the program might not work, or it might give me some anonymous error that I must have not seen before. So how is my script going to work? So in that way, I just follow what is there onto my screen and I just talk it out. That is what you need to do. If you have practiced the code, it becomes easy for you to frame it into a statement and explain the person who is sitting in front of you to understand what is your knowledge base. Yes, as simple as that. Getting the point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so good progress, but make sure, but this is a slow progress. We don't want slow progress. Now we have to work more. Yes. So if you need anything, it is only for you because you're very consistent for the class. You can talk to me directly. This is my number. Okay. And let me know if you need anything from my end. Ask sensible questions.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to threads. I'm sharing my screen again for threads. Let's say new package. We'll go for that first com dot what do we have a com dot ml dot threads. Okay. Now thread is something very important. Thread is one of the feature, I would rather say multi-threading is one of the features of core Java. Okay. It performs multi-threading so as to complete the task in a much optimized or faster pace. So multi-threading is done for, there are a lot of applications. We are not actually going to have an application when we are working with advanced Java, when we are creating projects and everything. We don't need to actually work in threads. But this thread concept is very important to understand how advanced Java is working from behind, how enterprise Java is working at the end. Okay, so because at the end of the day, in advanced Java or enterprise Java, we are going to create web applications. So these web applications are supposed to be handling a lot of requests that might come in onto a server at a given point of time. So those handling of requests, that handling of requests and everything is done by using the concept multi-threading. So this concept is very important for you to understand. Okay. So let's try to get in for the 5 first and then try to, I might be having this file and I can show it to you. Just a minute. So I need not type it out. I can directly go there. So here we go. So while doing multi-threading, you should be familiar with the concepts such as multitasking, multi-processing, and then comes multi-thread. So our system consists of processors. Those processors are going to handle our tasks, our process, and our thread. So I can say a thread is the single unit of execution I would say the whole task is divided into processes. All these processes can be further divided into threads. So you should be knowing about the broad level categorization of each one of them. Multi-threading is again one of the concepts which is widely used inside operating system. So you can see it everywhere. Right now, I'm opening at least how many applications? At least 10 applications. It is because of my RAM, I'm able to open it. And secondly, I am able to switch between these applications using multi-thread. Okay, because each of these applications are handled by one of the other threads or one of the other stuff, and it is going to work accordingly. So here the definition goes, it is a single unit of execution. Here, this unit can be a method, a class, or a block. In our enterprise Java, it consists of requests. Okay. There are different ways for creating thread, either by using thread class or by using runnable. So again, one of the interview questions, what is thread? Okay, how do you create thread and which of the methods of thread creation is better? Let's see this. How do you create a thread? And then we'll be answering it into a better way. Let's say, for example, here I'm creating a new class, and this is with thread class. Okay. So when you say you have got a thread, so before we actually understand the creation, we need to understand a few methods which are involved in the life cycle of the thread. Okay, so whenever a thread is created, so now again you will have to refer to the image or refer to a picture which will give you a better understanding. Okay, let's say for example in here, I'm searching for one. Let me share my screen. There's a reason why I'm not sharing everything because I've got a lot of data in here, or my previous data as well. So I don't want you to show that. So it is better to be placed, not to be shown there. So I am searching for thread life cycle. Okay, so when I see this, I actually need to understand all the methods and everything. So best examples you can see here. Okay, this is a good one. Yeah, you guys can see this.
Yes,
There
ma'am.
are various stages and everything. There are different things that you have and you can refer to them. Okay, so there are states and there are methods for a thread to go from one state to another. The first state is called as new state. Okay, new state or born state, whatever you call it. So whenever you create a thread, the thread is supposed to go in this state. And when the start method is called, the thread is going to go inside this state, wherein this state is called as an active state. Okay, wherein the state is when this thread is acting and has been assigned to do some task. Okay, so here we have got two different stages. Here we have got running state and runnable state. So whenever you call the start state, your thread is going to go inside the runnable state. And this runnable state is going to call the run method to go from run state to running state. Okay. Then if you want to go back from running state to runnable state, that means a runnable state is a place wherein the threads are ready to be executed to go into running state. Okay, so if I want a particular thread to go from a running state, that means that it has been performing some task, and from there I want it to go back to the runnable state, wherein whenever called it should come back. Okay, then we call in the yield method. Okay, you can say it is going from running state to runnable state. Okay, if the task is done, then it goes for dead state, wherein the method stop will be called. If at all the new state we are not working or we're not using anything, then again it is going to go to the dead state. If the method goes from this active state or running state to the block state, there can be reasons such as suspending of thread, sleeping of thread, or waiting of thread. Okay, this suspend and resume is deprecated. We don't use now. We now use all the other steps which you have. So when you ask a thread to sleep, it is going to be for a particular duration. You can also ask a thread to wait. Okay, if you're going to go for the sleep method, there's no opposite or any other method required for it to go again for the running state or for active state. It will go back into the runnable state as and when the time duration given for it to sleep is finished. Okay, then the next one is wait. Wait method is associated with notify. It is something which this wait and notifies. These are the methods of object class, and it is used to work in synchronization. Okay, so there are synchronized methods, synchronized blocks, so as to synchronize the task which is happening within the multi-threaded application. Okay, so if there's a thread which is performing some task, and so you'll get through an example, you'll see to it how this works. Okay, so so if you don't want any of the thread to get resume or any of the thread to perform any of the task, it can also again go to stop state. So the states which are important, new or born state, you have got running, runnable, then there's dead state or terminated state, and there's block state. Yes, and for each of these states, there are method associated to it. So you have got a method to go from running state to runnable state. Then I have got yield method from runnable to running. Then I have got run method from blocked to runnable state, I have got methods such as notify, notify all, and so on. Yes. So the methods are important. The implications or the usages for the same are important. Okay. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So again, interview questions that is asked for thread. What is thread? What are different types of thread? Different ways to create the thread. Which of the thread types are better for thread creation? Okay, what are the different states? What are the life cycle of thread? What is the difference between state and sleep and wait? Difference between wait and notify. Difference between notify and notify all. Difference between join and yield. What is the purpose of yield method? What is the purpose of join method? Okay, then what is synchronization? How do you maintain synchronization in Java? When to use wait and notify method? How to use synchronize, wait and notify together? What if you try to implement wait and notify without using without using a synchronized keyword? Okay, what is the thread pool? Okay, what is a thread scheduler? What is context switching? Then you have questions such as if what is a daemon thread? Okay, then can you start a thread twice? Okay, so these are the common types of thread questions which come in. Okay, the very famous one is, what is multi-threading? So you need to know that more than one thread executing at the same time is called as multi-threading, and all these concepts associated with it should be, jotted down or pinned down when this question is asked. Them to understand that you have got a better understanding for the same. Again, to remember these concepts, you should be knowing how to write files or create files for the same. So for now, I'm only going to show you how to create threads and how to execute. That's it for how the thread creation, the two methods, and then we'll end up the session. Or maybe one method would be enough. Okay, let's see this. Okay, so I am trying to create a thread here. So when do you say that you have a thread, or how do you call a thread? How do you create a thread? The first one is by extending thread class. Yes, thread is a class in Java, again present inside lang package. You can see thread is a thread of execution of a program. Virtual memory allows an application to have multi-threads for execution, for running concurrently. Then there's every thread has priority. Then yes, of course, there are 2 to 3 more methods. There's get name, set name, get priority, set priority. Okay, get current thread, or maybe you have got some more methods that you can use. For now, I just remember only this. Okay, so each method may or may not be marked as a daemon thread. I can create a daemon thread explicitly. Otherwise, we have got the service methods present with us. Apart from that, main is also a method. Main is also a thread in Java. So, you get an exception, that error in thread, exception in thread main. So yes, main is also a thread. Okay, so we do this thread. So once I extend this thread class, it is required for me to implement to override the method run, and whatever I write inside this particular method will be executed as the part of thread, as a thread. Okay, so let's say for this one, I want to execute the task of, let's say, to performing something. I am going to go for a loop here. The basic examples that people take here to understand how threads is going to work. So int I is equal to 1, I is less than equal to 4, and I, so plus, and I'm simply going to do a to see the value for the thread. So I'm saying the value for I. Now, I want my thread to execute the simple task of executing the loop from 1 to 4. That's it. Okay, so how do you create an object? How do you call this thread? So I'm going to create the object of thread class, which I have created in here. So I'll say thread class 1, or let's say thread 1. Sorry. I'll say T1 is equal to new thread class. And Let's call. So how do you call this run method? To call the run method, I need to call the start method. It implies that the start method will implicitly call the run method, wherein the start is going to say this particular thread has been created and put up into the running state. And when the start method calls the run method from runnable state, it is actually going to running state. Okay, so let's execute. It is very simple. I've just created the thread. I'm not performing multi-threading. I'm just performing thread operation. Okay, so now I want to know the thread. Okay, I want to know what is the name of the thread and everything. I can do that too. Let's say, for example, I can say t1 dot set name. Okay, so I say this is my first thread or thread 1. Yes. So I can just use it at other location. Let's say here, if I try to execute, I cannot see it. Again, it will be giving me the value 1, 3, 4. I want to see who is executing the thread. So when this comes into picture, I right now know it is only T1 working. Let's say I've got one more thread. Now I want to perform multi-threading. So here it goes. This is T2 which you have, and you can specify T2 like this. And let's just name it this way. Okay. Now I try to execute the code. There's something happening. I don't know why it is giving such an awkward answer. It should be executing 1, 2, 3, 4, and then again executing 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, like this. Let's execute again. Yes. Oops, something is wrong. I don't get it. Okay, this is fine. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. No, it was not fine. So you can see 1, 2, 3, and then it is doing something. I don't understand which thread is running at that particular point of time. So to know that, I can make use of thread dot current thread method dot get name. So this is going to give me the flexibility to know which thread is running with that particular value, with the loop. So if I execute, I get to see thread 1 is called for 3 times with value 1, 2, 3. Okay. And if I want, I can be more specific. Thread this, thread I with a thread 1 with the value I. Yeah. Thread 1 with the value 1, 2, 3, and thread 2 came in, and then again thread. And then there's something not correct. Let's add up one more thread. This time it is thread 2, thread 3. Let's save the code. Let's see. Oh god. Okay, so I just made it 2 again. So let's execute. Okay, so this is quite glitchy. It's not going in sequence, right? It is first of all calling the last thread which I have. Then it went to the second thread. It executed the second thread and again went for the third thread, then the first thread, then the third thread was executed. What is this? This is context switching. There are 3 contexts, have got 3 threads, and they are switching based on the resources which has been allocated at that particular point of time. Okay, so how do we work here? I want to see, right? It has to go in sequence, and I can synchronize it. If I want if some of thread to work and some to not, then I can work with the other types which we have. Yes. So for now, we'll just keep it this way. The other part which we have, the other way to create the thread is by runnable. Okay, runnable interface. So how this works? I have got one class called as Runnable Interface. I am implementing the interface called as Runnable into this particular class. So once I do that, again, this Runnable interface has got an unimplemented method called as run, which needs to be overridden. Okay, so so I'll just copy this thing because it is the same thing which I have here. I can copy, and then I can save it here because the run method is required, right? That's the only deal, and I can work with the thread. Now the only difference is I need to create runnable interface, the class which I have, right? The name of my class is Runnable Interface. I'll have to create an object of this. Okay. interface, or let's say interface 1 is equal to new runnable interface, and then I'll have to assign this to a thread class. Something like this: thread T1 is equal to new thread. Okay, and then I can specify what this is supposed to be. This is interface 1. Okay, then I will have to do T1 dot start. This is how it goes. Yes, so likewise, I have to create one more object of this particular thing, of this class, runnable interface demo. Let me just rename it. That is quite difficult to talk as well. It's runnable demo. It is better, or maybe say thread class runnable demo. Okay, so this is done. So I get to see that. Here's the demo one. Okay. So the similar thing needs to be done. Something like this. I'll say demo 2, thread 2, thread 2 dot start. I can give it the name that I want. And so it will work. Again, context switching. So thread 0, if I don't specify, it is going to take this thread as thread 0. And if I specify the name, it will, whatever name you have specified will be displayed here. This is thread 1, according to this. Yes, understood? So
Yes,
first it executed the second thread and then went for it. So both of them are same, except here I have to do this. It's quite awkward, but I don't know, why do I need this? Why don't I work with only class, and why do I have to implement the interface? The reason being, it is again an interview question. The reason being, if I want to extend something else, I can do that along with performing any other the task, right? If I want to extend some class, I can do it here. Okay, because extend can only accept one class. So if I try to extend any other class, it won't allow me. It was going to give me an error, right? Let's say I try to extend another class. It won't give me to do that. It won't allow me to do that. Yes, because we can only extend one class. And if I want, I can implement as many interfaces as possible and extend at the same time. Okay, so it helps me to work in that perspective, and it is a better option. So runnable is better than thread class. And runnable is a functional interface. Functional interface is the one which contains only one, or it contains only a single method which needs to be overridden. So we make use of that for also performing the task of functional interface method. There is a lambda expression, method references, and all those things. Okay, so that's it from my end. I will be sharing you the code. I don't know what is the point, but I think this will make some sense to you, because you guys are not responding to any of my questions. Since you were sitting for the end of the sessions, I think this might be helpful. So please download it. I have sent it online in your chat window. Please use it. Okay, download it.
yes, ma'am.
That's it from my end, people. If you have anything, you can let me know. Okay. If required, we shall connect again for your requirement. Okay. Please, guys, be consistent. If you are not, then I will not be able to help you for the same, for your selection purpose. It is going to be difficult for me. Okay.